By the next morning, he had taken over the sunny corner of the library, spreading out maps of the northern border while his guards stood like stone statues in my hallway. Every time I walked past, his gold eyes followed me, tracking my movements like a hawk waiting for a mouse to make a wrong turn. Uninvited guests don't get to complain about the hospitality, I said, counting out small glass vials on the main table. And unless the imperial treasury is planning to pay for the firewood you're burning through, I have to actually work for a living. Cashin finally dropped his quill, leaning back in his chair with that slow, infuriating smile. You really don't fear me at all, do you? A month ago, you would have been shaking or screaming if I entered the same room. I stopped counting, looking him straight in the eyes. A month ago, I was an idiot wasting my time on court gossip and a girl who didn't know I existed. Now I run a company. Deadweight assets get dropped, Your Highness. It's just good business. He stood up, walking over to the table. Instead of the usual royal posturing, he picked up one of the empty glass vials, turning it over in his leather-gloved fingers. He looked at it with a strange, quiet focus. The northern factions are planning something, Cashin said, his voice dropping low enough that the guards outside the door couldn't hear. They've been quietly hoarding grain and iron for the last 3 months. Everyone in the capital thinks they're just preparing for a harsh winter, but my gut says otherwise. I came up here to see if House Ashe was funding them through you. My corporate-trained brain instantly connected the dots. I remembered a massive, skipped plot point from late in the original novel, the Northern Rebellion. It wasn't supposed to happen for another year, but my sudden exit from the capital must have accelerated their timeline, making the Northern Lords nervous that the Duke's family was changing strategies. If they're hoarding grain, they aren't preparing for a rebellion yet, I said automatically, the analytical instincts of my past life taking over before I could stop myself. Cashin's eyes sharpened. Oh, and why is that? Because you don't fight a winter war with just grain and iron, I explained, pointing at his map on the desk. Look at the terrain. The northern passes locked down completely by the second week of the frost month. If they attack now, they trap themselves in the mountains without supply lines. They aren't hoarding to fight you. They're hoarding to price gouge the southern territories when the passes freeze over and the capital faces a food shortage. It's an economic stranglehold, not a military one. The room went dead silent. Cashin stared at me, his expression completely blanking out. The casual, teasing curiosity was entirely gone, replaced by the cold, calculating look of a true ruler. He wasn't looking at a spoiled noble anymore. He was looking at a man who had just dismantled a complex geopolitical crisis in 3 sentences. Who taught you to look at a map like that? He whispered, his hand tightening around the glass vial. I realized I had said too much. I shrugged, turning back to my crates. Like I said, Your Highness, I look at the numbers. War is expensive. Starving your enemy out and making a profit while doing it, that's just efficient. Cashin didn't answer. He just kept his eyes locked on me, a look in them that I couldn't quite read anymore. It wasn't suspicion. It was something much more dangerous, genuine fascination.